generation Dodge Viper, pray for me. This thing sitting still already feels pretty sketchy and wild. Off squeaky clutch. There's so much torque that you let go of the clutch and it just goes. So we got this amazing opportunity from the guys over at High Revs Garage. So huge thanks to them for letting me drive this almost all original first generation Viper. Now the first generation Viper, I always kind of poke a little fun at it because a lot of the things about the car were revolutionary, but at the same time, a lot of things about it were very rushed. For example, at the very last minute, Dodge had to realize that they needed to have a top for a convertible. So they basically threw together this really cheap top. And at the same time, this is an aftermarket hard top that takes two people to take on and off. If I'm yelling, I apologize. It's really loud in here. The windows are aftermarket, the hard top is aftermarket, but the rest of the car is pretty much all original with 34,000 miles. And this car, I mean, when you look at it, it has the original goofy looking 3-spoke wheels, but for some reason on the Viper, it just kind of works. It doesn't seem too bad. This car makes a very interesting sound. It's unlike anything I've ever heard. And the Viper in particular, a lot of it had to do with kind of this perfect storm of engineers and also ideas for Chrysler and even Lamborghini. But most importantly, Carroll Shelby had a big part in this car. Why is it called the Viper? Well, it's because Carroll Shelby couldn't call it the Cobra. That's literally the only reason why it's called the Viper, and it was the closest name to it. This was supposed to be the modern rendition of the AC Cobra, or the Shelby Cobra. And Carroll Shelby loved this thing, but I've always joked that this thing is like a bathtub with a V10 in it. No traction control, no stability control, no electronics at all, and that is why when the Vipers first came out, 50% of them were totaled or crashed. 50%! The Dodge Hellcat came out not too long ago, and yeah, there was crashes, but not 50% of the entire population of the car. This created this reputation of the Viper of, no dude, you can't drive it, you can't, it's too dangerous. And instead, it created this amazing reputation of, you're a real man if you drive a Viper, and you got driving skills if you drive a Viper and didn't crash it. So I'm easing into it right now, and the gearing is extremely long. It is so torquey, so ridiculous, because this is an 8-liter engine. Now, the new Vipers are 8.4-liter engines. And, you know, they said, you know, it wasn't big enough from an 8-liter. What I found interesting, too, is this steering wheel that has a horn in it, it feels like a Momo steering wheel. It feels like an aftermarket steering wheel, because you can even see where they Allened the thing on, just like you would with a Sparco or a Momo. The gauges inside are all white, and in the 90s, having white gauges meant like race car. Like it was supposed to be like a sporty feeling car. Okay, yeah, I see why this 50% thing was a thing. In the early 90s, having 400 plus horsepower was pretty bananas. But you can definitely see the Cobra's roots in this car. You drive a Shelby Cobra, and you can see how this came about. But the interior at the time, well, at the time it was fine, but it's all hard plastic. It has this minimalist feeling to it that I can appreciate because it was all about the driving experience. Oh yeah, we also got a cassette player with Chrysler logo on it. That's kind of neat. Stop! Oh my God. I'm in second gear. When this car is just camming at a stoplight or camming sitting still, it sounds like an old muscle car. The way it sounds, the way it lopes, has this very ferocious feeling. If you've never been in a Viper or driven a Viper, the pedals are all the way to the left. So my clutch foot is against the carpet. It's literally against it. So it's this very weird feeling because the pedals are very close together, but that made it feel more race car-like if you wanted to heel toe and do all that kind of shenanigans. But in this car, if you don't have any driving experience in it, I don't think you should be heel towing. I think you should just be focusing on staying around. But a lot of people are very split about the sound of the Viper. Some people love it, some people hate it. But it's not really about the sound, it's more about how raw and torquey the engine is. I mean, this is a magnet to a tree if you floor it in the wrong way. Shifter in this thing is extremely notchy, and I just wanted to be sure that I was going in the right gear. But I went to 5th and it was still pulling. That's how much torque this motor makes. The more I drive it, the more I understand why people were scared of this thing. Uno, dos, tres! God, I did it again! I'm going to get that second to third. In this thing is one of the most satisfying cars I've ever driven, because this has the perfect dude, it's so rad, it's not fair. This thing has the perfect mix of old and new, and it's not even new, it's old. This feels like an old car. The interior is right before all the car companies started upgrading to better materials on the inside. Oh yeah, there's a stereo system in between me too, so that's a plus. But there is something about how raw this thing feels compared to everything else that came out. The Diablo and all that, those supercars at the time, this was more affordable than pretty much every other supercar at the time, yet the Viper has this sense of being special to people in the general public. When you drive around a Viper, you can get a Gen 1 or a Gen 2 for pretty decent price, around the price of say a new Mustang, 30s, 40s, right around there. And you have something that's part of American car history while also making everybody's day. Got some pops. Hold on! The thing's turn-in is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's as good as more modern cars, obviously, but it has this feeling that you're connected to the car, but that's also why I think a lot of people had false sense of like invincibility in this thing, because I'm being extra careful, but you can tell the moment that you floor this thing in the wrong way or the wrong direction, that tail is going to come right around. And I've always compared a very different car to this car. I've actually always compared the S2000 to the Viper, because the S2000 is one of those cars that you feel like you have invincibility, but you'll be all the way in it and then you'll understeer or oversteer in the nick of time. Honestly, the gearing is so long, it feels like that second and third, I'm not even supposed to be here. Like, it feels like I need to be in first almost. Oh, sick, that was cool. Okay, so the only thing done to this car is the exhaust, and that's why it sounds so rowdy. It's just this little tiny muffler, and the exhaust comes out the side on each side, so it's not like one is a fake one and one is not for symmetry. And the roof scoop actually works. I will say though, when you're in a Viper, there is this hint of claustrophobicness to it. If you don't like being in tight spaces, especially in cars, you will not be comfortable in a Viper, regardless of what generation it is. It makes you have this cockpit feel. It makes you really enjoy the driving experience, and you are one with the car, even though it's dangerous, but you are one with the car. I went into this video review today thinking, you know what? I'm driving a Gen 1 Viper. I kind of know what to expect, but this has exceeded my expectation. Is it the best car I've ever driven ever? No, but is it really fun and really crazy? Yeah, it lives up to the legend and the hype and how sketchy it feels. They basically took parts they already had that were super cheap. Chrysler had no money at the time. Just remember this. They had zero money, yet they went out and wanted to build a supercar, which I give them credit. It shows they were still passionate about performance cars, and I find that really awesome. The Gen 5 Viper TA that I drove in 2015 it's crazy for me to say. It's one of my most favorite manual fast cars I've ever driven. And now, in comparison, is it fair to compare a modern car versus this? Honestly, I think it is, because in the Gen 5, you see the ancestry DNA when you drive the first one. The Gen 5 Viper feels like you get the thrill and the scariness of this car, but done in a way to where it's safer for the average consumer. Let's talk about the looks of the first Gen Viper. I can imagine when this thing came out, this was a perfect magazine cover car. But at the same time, it almost gives off the vibe of like the stereotypical early 90s lawyer, you know, driving around in a bright red sports car who has no right to drive a sports car, and yet he was part of that 50%. And the first year of the Viper was 1992, and they only made a little bit over 200 of them. They didn't build that many, but then the next year they built over 1,000, which in today's standards, that's not a lot of cars. That's really not. So the Viper also had this exclusivity around it too. So if you wanted to buy American while also having a supercar, this was the game. The 4GT didn't come back yet, so you had this monster of a V10. And on that note, once again, huge thanks to High Rev Garage. Make sure to subscribe to their YouTube channel. Incredibly nice guy. And on that note, what do you think about the first gen Dodge Viper? Do you think it's ugly? Do you think it looks cool? Do you think it's, you know, as scary as everybody says it is? Personally, yeah, I think it's up there. And on that note, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Goodbye.